Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to CNC Designs. As you come in, as always, say hello so that I can be sure to say hello back to you. I'm just going to take care of some usual housekeeping and just make sure that I can pull us up on the page, turn the volume down. If you see the red live button above my head, that means you have caught me live, so say hello. If you are watching me on replay, in either case, put in hashtag replay and say hello so that I can be sure to speak back to you. Let me see if I can find us, and then we can get started. Oh, that was fairly easy and painless tonight. So we will be broadcasting live tonight from CNC Designs as well as from the Crafting Network, where I am also one of the creators. And tonight we are going to be making an Easter egg. We're going to be doing some decoupaging and some stamping, and hopefully this will come out nice. So let me get my gloves on so I don't get my hands too messy. This is the egg that we're going to be using tonight. It is one of those Dollar Tree plastic eggs that comes in two parts. It comes apart, and I have just base coated it with some Waverly plaster paint. Hello Terry, how are you? Thank you for watching. And this is the printable that we're going to be using tonight. I've already gone around and kind of fussed cut it, and I did crinkle it up because when I use Mod Podge, it does shrink a little, so I crinkled it and I spritzed it with a little bit of water in and back just to release those paper fibers, so that hopefully it will allow me to apply it over the shape and I can manipulate it better. Hello Rustic Designs by Tracy, how are you? Thank you for watching. So we're going to be using some Mod Podge tonight. Hello Miss Maze, how are you? So I'm just going to Mod Podge our printable. I probably should have done some stamping on the front, would have made my life a lot easier, but if you know me, you know I like to make things difficult. Let's see, almost covered here. I like to try to get as much on as possible so that I don't have to do too much lifting and shifting. Hey Jen, how are you? So again, this is our printable, and I am going to try to apply it onto the shape, and we will have to do some manipulating, which is another reason why I crinkled the paper, because it is not going to lie absolutely flat, but that's fine. Yes, I am. I hope you are too. I hope everybody has had a great Friday. And I'm just smoothing it down with my hands. Yes, it is. I love Fridays. Hello, Elsa. How are you? Thank you for joining us. So this is what we have so far on our egg. And this is the back. I base coated this with some plaster paint. Hello, Levada. How are you? Hello, Sharon Keating. How are you? Making dinner. Sounds good. What you making? What did I have today? Oh, I had some pork chops and some pasta salad. So I think we've got a pretty good stick here. Got a few edges that are poking up. Just gonna stick a little bit of Mod Podge behind that, and hopefully we can lay that down. So I find, for me, the trick when I'm working with a paper, a printable on a round or concave surface like this, is to if I spritz the back of my printable with a little bit of water and then put my Mod Podge on. I do let it dry after I spritz it with a little bit of water because I did this tonight on my inkjet printer. If I had done it on a laser printer, I wouldn't worry too much about the ink running. But when you do it on an inkjet, sometimes the ink will run. So when I spritz it, I let it dry when it's an inkjet print. And then I apply the Mod Podge. But if it's a laser, you don't have to worry about that. That does not run. So there we have it. And we are going to apply something to the back. I like finished pieces. So I have this piece here. It's just a piece with a that I printed in Canva with some writing on the back. I'm gonna put on the back of here. I've been debating going back and forth to if I want to use the smaller piece or I do have a large, I think I have a large piece. Yeah, that could cover more real estate. So, and I'm thinking about using the large piece just because maybe I can try and get it to butt up against this piece that's on the front. Like I said, this egg does open and close. I did not seal it because if the egg doesn't sell, I live in an apartment, so I need to be able to store, and it's easy for me to just pop it open and store them nestled inside of one another. So I think I might want to try the larger piece on. Or let me look at this again and see how far this is going to come over. And that is going to be a lot of white space in between there. I could have done 2 5x7s and covered up this way. Then the writing would be opposite. Yeah, I think we'll go with this one. And let me see what kind of makeshift drawing I can do of an oval to try and cut this out. Let me see if I can find something to write with. I found a pen here. So I'm just gonna roughly just go around, try to go around the shape. Got a rough oval drawn there, and what I'm going to do is I'm not going to cut it. I am going to take my water pen and try and cut it that way. Hello Amy, how are you? Thank you for watching. Let me just clean off my spatula so that Mod Podge doesn't harden on it. Okay, so I'm just gonna go around this really roughly with some water, and I'm going to tear this oval. So that way I have some kind of jagged edges. I like that rather than straight edges. Hello, is it Aileen? And Betsy, how are you? Thank you for joining us. It's some late night crafting tonight. I keep all of my scraps because I never know if I'm gonna need them. So now we have something that's kind of like an oval. I probably could have made it a little bit smaller, but I'm gonna run with that. Actually, Let me see if I can. And I have not made my top round at all at this point. Just trying to round it out a little bit more. I am not an artist. I cannot draw. Pretty good with the computer and Canva, but freehand drawing, haven't been able to master that. But I am taking some hand lettering classes, so hopefully I'll be able to do some of that real soon. Yeah, that definitely is a lot closer. So like I said before, I tend to just spritz my printable in the back with a little bit of water because that helps to break down some of those fibers. I just tap it a little bit. I don't want it sopping wet, but I want it wet enough to be able to crunch and then open back up. You may get a little bit of ink bleed, but this is so light you wouldn't even notice it if you did, honestly. So this is gonna make this a lot easier to go around this shape. Hello, Tina. Before we do that, let's do some stamping because I like texture, and I'm gonna be using one of my faves, and I'm gonna be doing this with some ground espresso. And I'm just going to just pop on some more texture on top of this. Not really trying to have it too uniform. I just want some texture in places. And this stamp is amazing for that. And it doesn't matter that it's covering up the lettering because you wouldn't be able to read it anyway. Hi, Vicky. So I don't know if you can see that, but now it's got all that yummy texture in there. It looks a little bit like a crackle. I have some script type here. And if you've seen me in the past, you know that I love to do this. So I'm gonna add some of that. If the ground espresso doesn't make it pop, then what we'll do is we'll probably do it in black. But I'm gonna try it in the brown espresso first. Can't really see it that as well. Let's try and see what the black does. I am using Distressed Oxide inks as my stamp pads. These are my go-tos. I love them. And you see, I didn't even bother to clean off my stamp. It doesn't matter to me if those two inks meet one another, because all we're doing with this is just providing texture and some more visual interest. Now we can see it much better. I hope that translates for you guys. My computer is really behind my phone. Hello, Doris. How are you? Thank you for joining. So now let's apply some Mod Podge to the back. Here we go. I am not a fan of Mod Podge, but I do realize that sometimes it is necessary. I think when I finish this bottle though, I am gonna try another medium. There's all kinds of mediums that people use out there, but I've had so much Mod Podge in my stash that I said I'm gonna exhaust this Mod Podge before I go and buy some other type of decoupage medium. If this were smaller, you guys know me, I would definitely be trying to use a glue stick. Let me make sure that it's pretty even on these sides before I attempt to lay this down. We're gonna do the same thing. Hello Mel, how are you? I am just molding it. I'm not forcing it. I don't care about wrinkles. The wrinkles provide texture, so I'm okay with that. And with this kind of shape, you're gonna have to be okay with wrinkles because you are not gonna get a flat lay, no matter what you do. Hello Nancy, how are you? Thank you for joining us. And I see I got a little bit here. So we're gonna just pop a little bit of Mod Podge in there. We'll close down these empty white spaces with some more stamping and some more inking, and we will hopefully allow this to blend in a lot better. Okay, get my garbage bag here. Oh, I should have wiped that. Let me clean the spatula. I'm doing well, thank you. So for those of you who just joined, this is one of those Dollar Tree plastic eggs. They come in pink and blue and all kinds of colors, and you can open them up and put treats inside. I took one and put it together, and I base coated it with some Waverly plaster paint, and I am applying a printable on top. That is the front, and this is going to be the back. And we'll do some more stamping and embellishing. Maybe add a few ribbons. We'll see. Okay, so I think we've got a pretty good adhesion here on both sides. I do feel it a little cool. I'm just gonna put a little bit of heat on it to allow that Mod Podge to set. And it is plastic, so you gotta be careful. You don't wanna get your heat source too close, which is another reason why I'm rotating it, because this is a plastic egg. I don't want the heat to be focused in one area because you may start to melt it. This side is pretty dry. This is the side that I'm concerned with. Okay. So I think I see a little bit more here. Let me see if I can go in there just a little. I got a little bit of seepage of Mod Podge there, so. And it's easier if you have on gloves, or even if you had a plastic bag, because then you don't have to worry about the Mod Podge sticking to your hands and possibly ripping your printable. Now we do have some edges here that we have to address, and how I plan on addressing that is I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to close that down with maybe some inks and maybe even a little bit of, I have some mixed spackling and Waverly plaster paint here, so we might even apply a little bit of that in there just to see what it does. Tonight we're actually just going to be playing around and seeing what we like. I'm looking for an area. I'm gonna start down here in the bottom. I'm gonna see what happens if I apply a little bit of that spackling there. That's too big, but we might have to use it. Okay, let's try this. Because that will help close that gap there and bring some more texture in. I don't know if I'm going to do that all the way around because that might take a little bit more time to dry than I wish. So we'll see. What you can see there, hopefully you can see that. Let me see what that does if we attempt to dry it. Because even if we closed it down with that texture, we can still go in with our inks and add some color. Thank you. Again, gotta be careful. This is a plastic egg, so you don't want to get it too hot. I think that might work. Let's keep going and see what we get. I like to spackle this way because I find when I'm just tapping it this way, I get like these little peaks and valleys that gives it a lot more texture and it doesn't look so flat. I don't like to just scrape it across because then it's just gonna look like it's just some flat paint laying there. But if you just tap it, then you get these little peaks in there. And that is what I find really attractive about spackling and paint mixed. Probably should have thickened this up a little bit more with some, I think I have a little bit extra spackling over there. I'm gonna try and see if I can thicken it up a little more. Let's let that sit there for a sec. I do have another jar over here. Let's see if we can get some more spackle out and mix that in with this paint mixture. Let's see if we can thicken it up a little bit. I don't measure, so I just kind of just go with it until I think it's thick enough. So I don't have an exact measurement for you. This, I actually started this one with, this jar was empty, so, and I filled maybe about a third of the way with paint, and then I added the spackle. I think I want a little bit more. I'm looking to see if I have a spoon over here, but I don't, so I have to work with this. This spackling is a little thinner than I typically like. The one that was in this jar that came from Dollar Tree actually was a little thicker. Then again, it could have been, we don't know how long it was in Dollar Tree, so it might have been thick because it was on the shelf for a long time. I know some baking soda would have definitely helped to thicken it up a lot faster too, but I don't see it near me, so I'm gonna have to go without that. this is, it's thick, but it's not as thick as I would like it to be. But it dries pretty okay. It definitely gives it some texture. And let's keep going and see if we can close up this gap. I think I got too much right here. So if you feel like it's too much, just spread it out and just do the little stippling like I was saying. You could probably do that with one of these little Dauber sponges as well, but this one is really big, so that's why I didn't use that one. So you kind of want to spread it out, but you want to do it in that stippling motion. What do you guys think about this so far? Making sense? Not making sense? Let's sit this down here. Let me clean off our palette knife a little. This gets a little messy, so the gloves definitely help in that respect as well. I try to clean as I go because I don't like to clean craft supplies. I love to craft, but I don't like to clean the supplies. Ruth Ann, did I say hello to you? Did I say hi to you, Michelle? Thank you for joining us. So I'm going to sit this here. I'm going to try to dry it some because then I want to see if we can ink over it. Maybe do some stamping and bring some more visual interest there. So far our printable is still intact for the most part, so I'm pleased about that. Because anytime you're introducing any kind of liquid back into the space, you do run the risk of possibly having your printable lift up a little bit. Even the paper towel is helping to texturize it, so that is pretty dry, so that, okay. I really like how that looks over there. I hope you guys can see that texture in there. Thank you, Miss Mays. You want to get it somewhat dry because once you start fiddling around with the stamps and the ink, especially my stamps, I really don't want to get texture. I'm going to call this texture paste, which is really the spackling and the paint down into my stamps. Okay, I see that is not as dry. Hello, PNW Craft Studios. Guys, if you see any of my crafty friends coming in on their page names and you are not following them, please give them a like and a follow as well. And please always, because I don't know what's going on with Mr. FB, but just double check and make sure that you're still following CNC Designs. You're here tonight, and I've noticed that I do have people that come weekly, but I didn't see a follow in my list of followers, so well, we have to always double check that because there's always something new going on with Mr. FB. I'm going to let's try the stamp first. See what that does. And I'm going to use the black here just because it's a little more dramatic. It might be a little bit of a challenge again because it's on this round shape. So I don't know exactly what it's going to do, but we'll see. Let's mix it up. Since we're playing, let's mix it up and see what happens. The text really is not showing up, but it is just giving it some more color in between those seams, and that works for me as well. But I am getting a little bit of texture paste in my stamp, and that I don't want. Because if that dries in there, that may compromise the integrity of your stamp. So you definitely got to be careful and watch for that. I'm going to go back to this and let's see what happens. And I am just laying it right in that seam where we applied all that paste and trying to just bring some more color in there. So we can sort of close that gap up. Hello Tanner Jensen, how are you? Thank you for watching. I like this. I like all of that visual interest that's happening there. Hi Carol T, how are you? And we definitely are gonna go in with some ground espresso just because that is another one of my favorite colors. So we'll be adding some of that in there. And like I said, I did not seal my egg because if I have to store it, it's easier for me to take it apart and just have the two pieces nestled one inside of the other. But if this sells and the buyer wants it sealed, then I can. I just find it easier to take these seasonal items apart that way and store them. Oddly enough, the texture paste is not sticking in this stamp, which is a good thing. Because you all know this one is my fave. A little bit more in this spot here, and then I'm going to let you guys see what we have so far. So here is our front. I'm going to try to turn it slowly so you can see what's happening on those sides, and then you see the back. And on the other side, I think I might do a decoupage flower or something over here on the back as well, just to give it another pop of color. But let's keep moving with what we have so far. Hello, Gina Kelly, how are you? Now, our Frank the Bunny is really, really cute, but I feel like I want some more stamping over here. So I'm going to go back to our little script stamp, and just in those places that seem flat to me, I'm gonna just add another bit of interest. And I'm not concerned about whether or not you can read it, because that's not the point. I just like the fact that it's closing up what looked to me to be those empty spots. They are not so empty now. So what do you guys think so far? Give me a heart if you like it. I have some rusty hinge, which is a lot like those browns that we see here. So I'm thinking of maybe bringing some of that into this piece. I'm trying to see what other colors. It does have just a hint of green in there. Thank you for those hearts. So I think I'm gonna just see if I can just bring in just a little hints of that green, just to make that make the green that's already in the printable pop out a little bit more. And what I'm doing, honestly, is just hitting those areas of the printable that are wrinkled. I'm actually enhancing that. So you can see those little hints of green in there now. And that was just in those high areas where the printable wasn't laying flat. Now, I do want to bring in some of this rusty hinge, and I'm trying to think what is the best way to do that. So I want to do that with a brush, or do I want to try and bring it in with the sponge, the makeup applicator. Let me see. I don't want too much, so that's why I'm concerned about the applicator, because that can put down a lot, and I don't want a lot. So let me look at my brushes. Guys, I got a lot of stuff on this table, so forgive me for a sec. Let me move my paint palette over here. Let me try this. See what happens. I would just take my pad and just run it across, but I'm afraid that I'll get some spackle pieces into it. So you see that color that it's bringing in there now is really pulling it more together. Just a little bit. And this brush actually is, my daughter bought a new set of makeup brushes and she was throwing these away, and she always cleans her makeup brushes. So I saw that they were clean and I said, give them to me. So that's what I'm using here. Yeah, that's looking good. I like that. This is what we have so far. Again, now you can see those sides. And there's our back, and there's the other side. I'm just gonna just go in and just lightly brush a little bit of color here. Not too dark, but just to try and bring a hint of that rusty hinge to the back. You could do the same thing with dark wax, but wasn't sure if I want to use that. I may just lightly go in with some of that, but I don't want it to be too dark. I mean, it's an Easter egg. So now you can see how those colors now are all in the same family. So now I want to see what else I want to do. You guys know that I love my gold paint. I love my little paint scrapes. So we're definitely going to bring some of that in there. Let's see if I can get any more paint out of this bottle. If not, then I can finally open the new one. Oh, you see, we got a little bit more left. So again, I'm gonna take my little palette knife and I'm just gonna go in my paint like this and just literally spreading it out because I just wanna go across and just leave some paint scrapes. I just like the way that looks. I don't know, it just feels artsy to me. And I am gonna do a few in the front. Let's get our heat source. Make sure that we can get a little bit of heat on that. Even though there's scrapings, I don't want to have fingerprints because I've touched it. You can see those little gold specks in there now. Hello, Shauna Mickelson, Brenda Dowdy, how are you? And Brenda Farmer, we have two Brendas. So you can see how you can take one of those little plastic Dollar Tree eggs and literally transform it into something that you really wouldn't think has come from Dollar Tree. And this, I have done these in the past where I have poached them onto candlesticks. I may do something like that, I'm not sure. Or I may just leave it alone because I have one of those makeshift old-fashioned scales that I made that's in my kitchen. And I may just style this in on top of that scale with some greenery. So there's a couple of ways that you can style it. We could consider whether or not we need a bow. You could have put put some lace or some ribbon around here. I'm not a really big ribbon girl like that, so that's why I didn't do anything like that. But certainly you can, if that's your style, you can do that. But you can see all that gold looking really good popping in there. And there's those gold specks in the back. I really, really like this. It definitely gives your eye a lot to look at. You could do some additional shading in those ears if you wanted. And you see all that text now that pops through there. Not so much white space. I really, really like this egg. And let's see if we need anything else on him, her. I don't know, I'm not quite sure if it's a him or if it's a her yet. Let me just see. Do we want a bow? I don't know. 1 second, guys. Let's just make one and we'll see if we like it. Here we go. Sorry about that. I think I might be safe in taking these gloves off now. Hello, Shauna Mickelson. How are you? I'm going to go with probably some of these, more of these peachy and bone kind of colors. I'm going to use a little bit of this as our tie-off piece. I don't know if we're going to use this bow, but let's make a small one and see if we like it. If I can make a small bow. Every time I say let's make a small bow, my bows never really come out small. But it definitely cannot be too big because we don't want it to overpower this egg and all the awesome stuff that we've just put on it and into it. Well, thank you. And just tomorrow I will be on again. I believe it's tomorrow night. I put for I think 8 o'clock. We'll be doing Stencil Saturday because I did not do a Magnolia Monday this week. And on Sunday I am in a fundraising event, and that will be broadcasted from my page as well. So if you're not busy, Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, pop over to my page and watch me participate in the fundraiser. All of the things that are going to be made in this fundraiser will be auctioned off at the end. So I will be auctioning off my piece at the end. Hopefully it will raise some money for our dear friend who is going through cancer treatments and just needing a little bit of extra help. So if you can, definitely come and watch. It doesn't cost you anything to watch. And if you're able to donate, even if you're not able to bid, but you're able to donate, every little bit helps. And I can certainly attest to the fact that anytime that I have done anything like that, I've always been blessed in my giving. So I'm sure that it will work the same for you. Hi Brenda, how are you? I miss you, sweetie. I'm making this bow kind of big, right guys? I said I was gonna make a small one. Look at me. And none of you stopping me. I can't help it. I can't help myself. I do want to put another little piece of lace in here though. I don't have any scraps, do I? Let me see. Okay, I think that's enough because I could just go on and on and on, and the bowl will be bigger than the egg. Hi Susan, how are you? Thank you for joining us. Got some cute little tiny parts in here. Let's see if we can get some of that into our little or would-be little bow, right? So I'm just tightening this as we pull it up. When you use the bow dabber, I tell everyone, your bows, because they're stacked, your ribbon pieces are always stacked on top of each other, which is why I always take it off and press down in my middle, because I like to define the middle or the center of the bow. And then I wrap around a couple of times my jute string or whatever it is that I've used to hold it together, just to make sure it's good and tight before I actually close up the bow. I'm gonna give it another push down here in the middle. I just find that that helps me to close my loops, have my tails lay a little bit better, all the things. Hello Cheryl, how are you? Thank you for watching. I'm just double knotting this, and I am going to take a little bit of this off. And now I just tend to take my tails and kind of do one of these and kind of shake the bow out, because that will naturally allow those loops to kind of just flow where they want to go, and you'll find that you don't have to manipulate it as much, because the bow will define for itself where those tails will naturally look best. So let me put some of these ink pads up. Let me try and bring this heat gun over and sit it here for a sec. Let me mess with this a little bit more. I see some of these tails want to misbehave, a little something something. We could, that's gonna cover up my bunny. So I don't know if we're gonna use this bow. Let's see, let's see. This is something I never do, but it might have to be up on top, y'all, because anywhere else, I think is gonna cover my bunny. What do you guys think about up there? If you've been watching me for any time, you know I'm struggling with this one, because I don't like anything centered. Not my zhuzh, but I think honestly, if I'm gonna use this bow, that's probably the best place to put it. This tail is too wide. Let me cut that. No, actually, yeah, let me cut that a little bit, because that's bothering me. Okay. Yeah, I think that this might have to have a bow that sits on top. You guys know me, I'm trying to put it to the side. You don't know about on top, Brenda? Because anywhere else, I think it's going to impede on my bunny. And yeah, on the side, that doesn't look right. On the bunny itself, don't like it. Not a fan. Let me see if I can hold this so you guys can see what I see. Yeah, definitely not on the bunny. So I'm thinking this, or we could not do anything to the front and just put this bow in the back and leave the front this way. What do you guys think? Yeah, it's definitely hard to decide. And it's really hard for me to decide because I don't like things on top. I don't like anything in the center. That really, really just, I don't know what it does with that. Just gets on my nerves. But I'm thinking if I cock it a little bit to the side, little catty corner, maybe I can live with it. Let's see, let's see. I'll tell you what, when you see the picture, if you don't see a bow, that means that I couldn't live with it. I'll put this over here to the side like a little hat or something. I don't like anything centered. She cute, she cute. What do you guys think? I think she's cute. Let me see. I have this little cute little heart. I'm thinking about, where's my rusty hinge? Let me find the color that I'm looking for here. If you are a collector of Tim Holtz Distressed Oxides, definitely got to get you these holders. This little tray is a lifesaver. I think it holds like 15, yeah, 15 stamp pads. Keeps them all in one place. Definitely worth the investment. Let's get this little makeup sponge back. Let's see if we could do a little bit of tinting onto this heart so that it's just not stark wood. I don't know if I'm gonna put this one up there or I have another one right here on the chair. One second, guys. This one looks like it might be a little bit too big. So, you know, I think I have some smaller ones in here. I do. I have these little ones. I have this little one. I have this. So let's see what works. That's too big. I think she's probably the best, this little one. Okay. So here she is. What do you guys think? So let me see if I can turn it around again so you can see all that yummy texture. And there's our back. I love those gold specks in the back. And then there's our other side. And back around to our front. You like the first heart? I did too, but it just felt like it was too big for that middle of the bow. Here it is with the first one. What do you guys think? That one or the smaller one? Because we could definitely switch it out. Which ones do you like? Do you guys like the best? The bigger one or that smaller one? I love these bigger hearts, and the reason why I like this heart period is because, again, it's not straight. It's a little wonky, and I like things that are like that. They just, I don't know, a little more rustic. They just appeal to me more, so I know why I like it. I don't know. You might see a heart change as well. But I hope you enjoyed what we did tonight. This tail is a little too long. I mean, too wide. Whenever your tails, your ribbon or fabric tails are too wide, just cut them up the middle. Nobody will know. It'll just look like it's 2 extra strands that you used. The smaller one. Thank you. I'll see which one grows on me. But so you can see this is really simple. Like I said, this is just one of those plastic Dollar Tree eggs, the kind that you take apart and you can put candy or some types of treats inside. I just base coated the entire egg, put the 2 parts together, base coated it with some Waverly chalk paint, and then I use this bunny printable and put it on the front, and then the back was just a plain paper that looked a lot like this one. I just had some faint text on it, and we went in and we added all types of yummy textures and stamps and paint splatters and all kinds of things to it. So there we have it. I hope you really like this. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed making it for you. Miss Fanny, usually on every Friday night when I go live, I'm going live at 10 o'clock. It's late night crafting for me at 10 o'clock on Fridays. Usually we are on Mondays at 8. This Monday we didn't go on at 8, so we will be on tomorrow night at 8. And then also this weekend, Sunday, I am in an event. So I will be available 2 more times this week. And I always try to when I post, to put in for, at followers, so that if you are someone who's following the page, you will be able to see that you've got a notice from this page, and that will tell you when we're going live. So I hope you all appreciated this. I hope you like it. If you want to own it, it is certainly available. Let me know. And in the meantime, I will see you all on tomorrow. So you have a blessed rest of your night. Take care of yourself. Be good to yourself and be good to others. And here are some hearts from my heart to your heart. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a good night, everybody. Bye-bye.